One of the biggest misconceptions women have about attraction and male and female dynamics is assuming that men fall for women based on how they see them. So they focus on being beautiful, being impressive, being accomplished, saying the right things, in general, creating a perfect image of themselves. And don't get me wrong, these things do matter to some degree, but what really makes a difference in how men respond to you is not how they see you, but how they feel when they're with you. And the reason why this matters so much is because a woman can be beautiful and tick all of the boxes on paper, but she can create an experience of tension and an experience that feels performative and emotionally closed, which ends up making the man feel self-conscious, which is probably why dating feels so confusing to you right now, because logically you're doing everything right. You're attractive, you're successful, you're smart, you're emotionally intelligent, you're self-aware, you are trying so hard to be the woman that men fall for and be the woman that dating feels easy for. And still that fiery, magnetic, rom-com like attraction just doesn't happen. Men can admire you, but at the end of the day, they still go and pursue someone else. And the annoying thing is that someone else, these other women, when you look at the facts, they shouldn't even be considered your competition. And that's because attraction is emotional before it is logical. This is why sometimes you look at couples and you're like, what does he or she see in him? They are so mismatched visually or intellectually or otherwise. But what you need to know is that a man does not become obsessed with a woman because she ticks all of the boxes on paper. He becomes obsessed with her based on how he feels around her, based on how he feels when he's with her. So in this episode, I will break down what successful and masculine men want to feel around a woman, why trying too hard to impress a man gives exactly the opposite effect, and the ways in which ambitious women unintentionally take the magic and excitement away from new connections. If you're new here, my name is Laura Nagel. I'm the author of the Dream Framework, the first and only dating coaching program that guarantees you're gonna meet the one in 6 months or less. I have helped over 100 women find their dream man in weeks and months, and I would love for your story to be next. Let's get into it. So let's start off by clarifying the most common misconceptions that women, and especially ambitious women, have around what healthy masculine men find attractive. Because a mistake I see so many women make is that they look at themselves through their own lens instead of looking at it through the men's lens. And the perspective will obviously be different. We have been biologically wired to look at life differently. And so while an impressive career, financial security, and great lifestyle is something that might be impressive to you personally as a woman when you see it in a man, it doesn't work the same way for a man who just meets you. Your professional achievements, your financial stability, your overall independence are not impressive to him the way you think they are. And before you click off and cancel me, let me explain. Men love a woman who's the full package. Men love a woman that's beautiful, but that is also smart, that has the analytical skills, and who is able to be not just arm candy when they go out, but also a conversation partner and a discussion partner when they're strategizing with something that has to do with their business or their job. But when they hear about your career, for example, it doesn't matter to them how much money you make and how powerful your position is. What they like to see is passion and drive and how it shapes you as an individual, how it grows you as an individual. They are looking for traits that will translate well into the personal life, into how your relationship will be, as opposed to what you can contribute. So essentially, who will you be in that relationship in your time off, rather than what can you contribute to the relationship. Because as much as women are biologically wired to look out for a partner that is going to support them, protect them, and provide for them, men don't have that. They're not looking for someone who's going to protect them. They are looking for someone who's going to enrich their life. So even if you're not massively successful at your job by the general metrics, meaning the level of seniority and how much money you make, you can still be insanely attractive to the man you're dating, because for him, the most important thing is that you're passionate about it, that it brings you fulfillment, and that it makes you a more interesting, happier, and more pleasant to be around type of person. And even if you're amazing at your job, but your job makes you miserable, makes you lose your temper quickly, makes you just hard to be around, it doesn't matter how impressive your title is, no man will want to put up with that. And it has nothing to do with feeling threatened, because again, I'm talking about healthy masculine men, not weak boys who are afraid of their woman's achievements, her knowledge and wisdom. I'm talking about men who know their worth, who are confident and secure in themselves. So for them, the problem is never your success. They will support you and they will cheer you on. The problem is when that high power role is turning you into someone who is very difficult to be around, who lacks warmth, who is tense, and who makes it very difficult for them to feel at home. Instead, they feel like they're in a board meeting. So when I say that men are susceptible to the emotional experience, to how they feel when they're with you, that's exactly what I mean. Men don't care about what you're able to give them on a physical level. They care about that emotional experience. What is it like when you guys are together? Does he feel at ease? Does he feel relaxed? Does he feel appreciated and admired? Because if he does, he's gonna move mountains for you, and he will enable you to do whatever it is that you want to do, whether that's pursuing your career, whether that's spending more time on your hobbies, whatever it is, he will do that for you as long as he feels like a king in your presence. As long as you make him feel calm, even more secure in himself than he already is. And you know that scenario where a CEO runs off with an assistant, leaving his wife of 30 years, and nobody can understand because the wife is beautiful and she's classy and she's smart, and the assistant is just some random girl from a small town, doesn't have a good taste, she wears these ridiculous big nails and has roots that haven't been taken care of. I'm getting oddly specific. I have a particular situation in mind, but you know the context, you know what I mean. So nobody seems to be able to understand, what does he see in her? He has this beautiful woman at home, and yet he runs off with someone who's not half as good as her, to put it simply. Why does he do that? Well, he does that because feeling seen and appreciated is addictive. Feeling seen and appreciated is the thing that is the most magnetic to a man. And many successful, ambitious women often happen to be perfectionists as well, and that serves them in their professional life. But what it does in personal relationships, it very often causes a fear of praise and appreciation for the partner, because when you are a perfectionist, chances are you've been raised in a home where you were not getting praise, and your parents would never tell you that you did good, and instead they will tell you that this is fine, but you always could do better. And if this was your household, I know it was my household, how it shows up in your dating is that you are afraid to verbalize that appreciation, to give that praise, for the fear of, if you do that, they will stop trying. And these simple girls, they don't have that fear. They are so impressed by whatever the man gives them. And I'm not saying that you should do that, but what I'm saying is that's very often the reason why men fall for women who objectively have nothing on you, who objectively are not even close to the level of sophistication that you have. But what they have is they give attention, they give appreciation, and they give understanding. Whereas ambitious women very often fall into the trap of always trying to be better, of always moving the goalpost, not just for the man, but also for themselves. So I am by no means saying you are just like that to him and you're just being mean to him. No, you do that to yourself too. And that's not healthy for you either. But if a man constantly feels like he's not enough, and even when he does his best, it's accepted but never really appreciated, it, one, demotivates him, and two, takes away that spark and opportunity for him to really fall for you. And so on a practical level, what you want to do, and I encourage you to try this, is showing gratitude even for the smallest things. If someone you're seeing for the first time is taking you to a really nice place, don't be afraid to openly compliment him on that and to appreciate his efforts. Just because you say, that's a lovely place, I love that choice, and thank you for organizing, thank you for taking me. If you fear that you saying that is gonna make him think, you know what, that's all done then, she's already mine, I don't have to try anymore. If this is your fear, then one, you know that perfectionism and praise and communication is definitely something that you need to work on. But two, the initial stages is the perfect time to trial it, because if he really does do that, which is extremely unlikely, if anything, he's gonna double his efforts. But if he does do that, then you already know that it was never your guy. Because how toxic would it be if you had to withhold your praise and appreciation and gratitude to your own partner in order to keep him keen and caring about you? So yes, being the most powerful, the most financially successful, the best educated is not gonna make a man fall for you. Neither is being the most beautiful. There are so many women who are just so beautiful, and you look at them and you think, how can they be single? They should never struggle in dating. How come they do? How come they come across so many men that are very keen to have a one-night stand with them, but they're not interested in being with them long term? And one of the reasons is that lack of spark, that lack of emotional pull and warmth that men want to be around. You know how some beautiful women get labeled as ice princesses? It's exactly that emotional unavailability, that tension, that feeling of you have such high standards when it comes to what you want. I bet you have the same ones for yourself. It shows in how you look and maybe what you've achieved. These two very often tend to go hand in hand. But I just feel like I will never be enough. And these thoughts, by the way, are not just coming from men who are literal losers. They come from men who are very successful, but if they feel that a woman is never happy and nothing is ever enough, then they just stop trying and they move on. And you might be listening to this and thinking, okay, Laura, but obviously I'm not gonna tell a man on a first date or even on the first few initial dates that he's not enough. Why would he feel that he's not enough? Why would he feel that I'm cold and I have extremely high standards? How would he know that? And obviously there are so many mistakes you can make on a dating app before you even meet. And I will make a separate episode on that at some point. But very often what ambitious women do, those women who are really the full packages, what they do is because they have their standards, they want to protect their time, protect their feelings. What they do is they turn first dates into interviews or auditions. And another thing that no man wants to feel is that this is not about him. It's about you filling in a role. So it doesn't really matter who he is as long as he ticks the boxes that you listed for the role of a husband or of a life partner. And many women struggle to understand that because for them it's just being practical, it's just saving their time, and they also like to label it as not playing games. They just say straight up what they want. But imagine if a guy was just interested in how old you are, how fertile you are, how ready are you to have kids. Wouldn't you be asking yourself, okay, does he even want to be with me? Or is it literally just about securing an incubator for his babies? Because I feel like he doesn't even care about how it's going to go if we are together, as long as we can have babies. And that's an extreme example, of course, but that's very often how women make men feel. That I don't really care who you are as a person. I don't care about your quirks and your strengths, but also your weaknesses. I just want to know what you bring to the relationship. And if you don't tick my boxes, I'm going to have to move on, which creates that pressure. It doesn't create that atmosphere of warmth and curiosity and understanding. It creates that tense, cold atmosphere that makes the man feel self-conscious, even if he has nothing to feel self-conscious about. because it doesn't feel like he's dating, it feels like he's interviewing. So the reason why you might be meeting a man who feels perfect and you go on a few dates with him and then he doesn't want to continue, and you might happen to see him be with someone who is nowhere near what you represent with yourself. You might be asking yourself, what does she have that I don't? And I'm sure if you asked him, he would give a similar response that some of my male clients gave me, which is, I don't know what it is about her. You know, I went out with so many good looking, privately educated, powerful women, and yet I didn't feel the thing that I feel with her. And so the men know on a logical level that ambitious, successful women are probably the best match for them on paper, but they just don't feel that spark. So in an ideal world, they would like a woman who's the full package, a woman like you. But what happens is, if they go on a date and the atmosphere is one of an interview, that spark cannot happen. When you are interviewing for a job, you don't feel the sparks flying with the person interviewing you, right? Because your mindset is elsewhere. And what ambitious women tend to do is they unintentionally take that excitement and spark and curiosity away by forcing a structure to the initial dates, by treating the initial conversations and the behaviors in the first dates as tests, by constantly assessing the man. And even if you don't say it out loud, he can feel it. I genuinely believe that the majority of our communication is nonverbal. We are still very much animals. So even if there are some things that are unsaid, we can feel them on an energetical level. So because a man feels he's being assessed and evaluated all the time, it's difficult for him to relax and open up and be able to embrace you and experience something special with you. Because again, subconsciously, he gets defensive. Subconsciously, he cannot fully relax and give you his best as well as receive your best. And you know how sometimes when you're just casually dating someone, you are not having any hopes with them, any plans for the future, they get super obsessed with you. That's exactly why, because with them, you are open, you're free, you're not stressed about if he's gonna do that thing or if he's gonna say this thing that you're expecting him to say. You are just allowing him to be yourself without any expectations, and they can sense it. And this is why they want to be around you. This is why they get crazy about you, and this is why they fall in love with you, even if you don't intend to fall in love with them. And that's exactly why women who are able to approach dating with a neutral attitude have the most success. Because I want to make it very clear, I'm not saying that the key to creating a strong attraction with a man is letting go of your expectations, letting go of your standards. Absolutely not. But what I'm saying is you should filter well at the talking stages. And when you actually get to meet a man, meet him with openness and willing for him to show you who he is, as opposed to you trying to extract from him all of the key information, all of the data that you feel you need in order to assess if he is a match. I want you to allow the connection to flow organically. And everything in life is interconnected, and it's the same case in dating, because obviously you are not able to let the connection flow organically and be open and relaxed and just chat and see where things go with dozens of men at any given time. And this is why that aspect of filtering is so important. And that's the part that, if it's missing, it makes women who are on a timeline, who don't want to waste their time, who have been let down and heartbroken too many times, this makes them harden up and go into that interview mode, because they just want to protect their hearts. And I get it. And I wish there was some sort of universal advice I could give you when it comes to filtering, but it doesn't work. And this is why the generic social media advice you will get in regards to what you should say on your dating profile, what are the red flags when it comes to men, it doesn't work. And the only way to do that is to get extremely clear on what you bring to the table, on who you are in your dream relationship. who your dream man is. And from that, reverse engineer what your dating profile should be, what your exact filters should be. And when I say filters, I don't just mean the filters on a dating app, I mean your general filters for new connections, so that you have fewer of these connections, but you can approach them way more openly and allow for that spark to happen. If this is something you're interested in doing, in the show notes, there is a link to the page for my program, the Dream Framework, where one of the stages is all about creating a bespoke strategy when it comes to setting up your profile, repelling the men who are not going to be a match for you anyway, only attracting the men who are your type, who meet your requirements, tick your boxes, to save you time so that you have fewer conversations, even fewer dates. But when you do, it makes sense for you to open up emotionally and yes, do get your hopes up and shift your dating experience. Like I said at the beginning, the Dream Framework is the only coaching program that guarantees you're going to meet your dream man in 6 months or less. So if you want to be in a committed relationship by the end of this year, this is something that you should definitely check out. Now, this is it for this week's episode. If you know someone who needs to hear this, show them some love by sharing this episode with them. And if you found it personally useful, make sure to subscribe because I post every week. See you next Sunday.